Due permission from the chair, before we move on to the important segments of our program, the Kohima Press Club and the Nagaland State Commission for Protection of Child Rights would like to acknowledge the very important persons in our midst. As I call out your name, I would like to request you to stand where you are and receive a small token of appreciation. Madam Dzüvinuo, Theünuo, Director, Information and Public Relations, Nagaland. Engineer Sabou, Yashu, Director, Information Technology and Communication, Nagaland. Sir Alun, Chairman, NSCPCR. Thank you.
Everyone, welcome to this one-day workshop on understanding child rights and child protection, role of the media. This workshop has been organized by Kohima Press Club in collaboration with Nagaland State Commission for Protection of Child Rights, as part of the year-long celebration of the 25th anniversary of the Kohima Press Club. So today we have some very interesting personalities here among us. Allow me to introduce to you the persons on the dais. Let's begin from the far left. We have Yhoshü, President Kohima Press Club. We have Dzüvinuo, Theünuo, Director, Information and Public Relations, Nagaland. We have Mezivula T. Keretsu, NGS, District and Session Judge, PEC, and former Registrar, Supreme Court of India. And we have Sri Alun, Chairman, NSCPCR. And we have Engineer Sabou, Director, Information Technology and Communication, Nagaland. I'm sure all of you have today's schedule with you, so we will just move ahead with the order of the program. I now welcome Srimati.
The main child protection legislation are the Juvenile Justice, Care and Protection of Children Act 2015, the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012, and the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act. To be honest, I admit that I had to Google that. Well, as journalists and reporters, we cover numerous and wide range of topics and backgrounds that sometimes make us seem or even feel that we know everything. But the truth is, we don't. We know there is the Juvenile Justice Act or the POCSO Act, but how many of us exactly know which provisions protect the identity of a victim of a violent and traumatic experience? We have also witnessed unfortunate instances where the media has been overly intrusive and reported child-related stories irresponsibly, unaware of the further damage that their reporting is causing to the child and his or her family members. It is in this backdrop that the Kohima Press Club has come up with the proposal to have an in-depth workshop on understanding children's rights and protection, so as to build the capacity of journalists and equip our members with the knowledge and skills to report responsibly on child-related issues. We are grateful to the Nagaland State Commission for Protection of Child Rights, NSCPCR, for gracefully accepting our proposal and also stepping forward to collaborate with the Press Club in this. The Kohima Press Club is completing its milestone anniversary of 25 years in January 2026, and this workshop is being organized as part of our year-long celebration of the occasion. We have today the right experts to help and guide us understand the children-related rights and how to ensure their protection. I think this topic, especially for us media practitioners, is imperative and non-negotiable. Journalists should know at least the basics of the existing child protection laws and uphold the best interests of the child or children when directly or indirectly reporting on minors. We need to be sensitive when approaching any issues, any sensitive issues in general. While the media must uphold journalistic freedom and that must be preserved and promoted, it should also maintain ethical and professional responsibility when it comes to reporting child-related issues and safeguard their best interests. We must prioritize child protection, even if it means to compromise the local perception of competition for headlines, winning the audience or increasing the number of readership, viewership, or followers, as one may call it in this day and age of social media. That being said, we are all keenly and excitedly looking forward to an enriching session with our most resourceful Madam Mezivoliterie. We are also delighted to have in our midst Mrs. Dzüvinuo, the Director of Information and Public Relations, Mr. Sabou Yashu, the Director of Information Technology and Communication. We are grateful for your constant support towards the press and media fraternity. We welcome you and your team. And we also would like to extend our welcome to everyone, including those of you from the NSCPCR Child Line and the ones who are going to gain the most in today's workshop, my press and media colleagues. I wish us all a productive session ahead.
In fact, I'm extremely delighted that we could have this workshop today, which may be first of its kind in the convergence of different entities. Though it should have been thought of much earlier, but then it's always better to be late than never. To start with, the NCPCR is an autonomous statutory body vested with legal power, which is mandated to monitor and supervise all matters relating to children of 18 years and below, like programs, schemes, policies, etc., and take cognizance of anything deviating or in contradiction of the child rights and act accordingly. This Commission for Protection of Child Rights Act was passed by the Parliament in the year 2005. And then National Commission for Protection of Child Rights was instituted in the year 2007. And accordingly, Nagaland State Commission of Protection of Child Rights came into being on October 2013. And later on, the NCPCR rules, which was made in the year 2015. So I want to be short here. In fact, we all may be knowing there are 10 fundamental rights of children. And these are, I will read it out. Right to survival, right to education, right to protection, right to participation, right to development, right to health and well-being, right to identity, right to expression, right against discrimination, and right to safe environment. And these are enshrined in the Constitution of India under Article 14, 15, 21, 21A, 24, and 39. However, as we all know, due to depravity of human hearts, today we see the gradual rise of unabated crimes against children, which was once alien to our society. As we became more cosmopolitan in nature, in spite of knowing that the life of every children is important, as they are the backbone of the society, how much are we doing in order to curb this menace is a big question in front of us today. The children are the biggest assets we have. It is our sole responsibility to see that they grow up in a conducive atmosphere, to develop their mental and physical health without any fear from vices against them. Only then we can transform our society to a desired future ahead. Likewise, in a modern society, press and media play a vital role in shaping, in bringing light to darkness. Without press and media, society will be in darkness, and when in darkness, there can never be any progress in the society. In today's world, the fourth estate, or the press and media, act as watchdog for the people by scrutinizing the activities of the government, different institutions, and organizations. It also plays an important role in the dissemination of the right information by edifying the society. It also helps in forming sound decision for leaders of the society. Like the children, the press and media are important pillars in shaping the future of our society. Here I would also like to be honest by expressing my appreciation to the present dispensation or the government of the day under the dynamic leadership of our Honorable CM, Dr. Theünuo, who is deeply concerned and committed towards the welfare of the children by understanding the importance that our future lies in the hands of our children. Therefore, it is the bounden duty of all the stakeholders like us and all the parents and every citizen of the state to promote the protection of child rights to its entirety. Lastly, as it has already been said by Madam Alice, the President, the main purpose of this workshop is to know where to draw the line, particularly while dealing with cases relating to sexual and other abuses towards minors or children by protecting the identity of the victim or information that may indirectly lead to knowing who the victim is. I hope by this workshop, all of us will benefit from the vast knowledge of our eminent resource person we are privileged to have. With this, I conclude my time. Thank you, everyone. I am not a rhetoric speaker, therefore I'll not take much time. Respected the chairman of the program, Seyiekietuo, then respected
giving me this time to say a short speech on this one-day workshop on understanding child rights and child protection and the role of the media. Like our chairman has informed us, the commission was set up in the year 2013, and we were aware that the commission had been set up, but it was this year, I believe on 20th May, that Sir and his full team, they came and discussed about the possibility of having such a program with us. And while talking about the role of the media, the medium that is most pervasive now is the information technology boom. So naturally, that is where the IT department comes in. And the topic as such, you will hear all the legal aspects from the expert, so I will not dwell on that. But the topic is something which is which will, if not handled properly, or if we are not conscious and take appropriate measures, it will have far-reaching consequences on our society. So I believe that it's an opportune time, and the chairman, with his foresight and experience in administration, he has brought together all the stakeholders, I believe. So this is a good start, because it cannot just be we cannot just throw the responsibility to each other. It is something which everybody, including the public, have to be aware, because the NSCPCR alone cannot tackle this problem. So in our own way, we should all step in and help in creating more awareness on this issue. And I believe they are starting with the media, because ultimately it is the media that wields a lot of power in society. We have different agencies of power, but it is the media. You have the power to, through your reach in whatever medium, that you have the power to inform, and you have the power also to form opinions. We all know that one of the tenets of responsible reporting is like objective reporting, factual reporting. But while doing that, you can present the stories in such a way that your story doesn't just cover the facts, but it also informs and educates the reader. And the power of the word, be it in the print format or be it in the digital format, it is so powerful. So the choice of words and the presentation of the sentences, it is very important. That is how the role of the media can never be underestimated. And I know through our association with the media fraternity in the department that the media in Nagaland is by and large responsible. It's a responsible media fraternity. But with the onslaught of the digital media, now there's more challenging times ahead for us. So, and the media fraternity in in Nagaland, the chairman had noted in a way before that they are, since the media organizations are relatively small compared to mainland or in the world, the journalists of the media organizations have to cover every bit. You know, you have to be masters of, you have to master every topic. So from sports to assembly to political to social, and then so it requires you to be knowledgeable in all the fields. So it's an onerous task, I know. So it is not that, I'm sure it is not that the NSCPCR is putting all the responsibility on your heads, but this is something which, since the power is vested in you, which you have since you have a lot of power, you have a lot of reach. I think it's a way of reminding us, and while going through some of the legislation, the acts and rules and the guidelines that are there for in respect of this topic, I find that it is not so difficult, since the interpretation of the rules will be done by the judiciary. It's quite simple for the media to be aware of the basic tenets of the rules and the guidelines. And if we follow those basic foundations, then it is quite easy to achieve what the child rights and child protection is all about. So it's a very good start, and I applaud everyone here for being here. And through this initiative today, I hope that the message will carry on, that in Nagaland we are aware, we are awake to this menace. So this message itself will reach out to our colleagues, to our people in all the districts, and I wish the NSCPCR all the best in your endeavors as you carry the message across in the other districts also. And I hope that Kohima, being the state capital, it started with KPC today. I hope that this message carries forward to your colleagues in the other districts. And with this, I thank you all for your patient hearing. Thank you.
Playing a great role, and after your resumption as the chairperson, we find that a lot of activities have been happening, and we feel that this is the right platform where the child rights and child protection can be carried forward. I also I appreciate the media, because when, as a legal service authority persons, when I was serving as member secretary, and even now also, the media, we find that whenever we have our programs done, we find that our activities are being highlighted in the social media, in the press, in the newspapers, in the radios and different channels. And see, we are able to reach out to perhaps 50 people or 100 or maybe 1,000. But when the media, they highlight our programs, it reaches out to 10,000, 20, 30, 40,000, not only in the district but outside the district, in the whole state of Nagaland, and also across the Northeast and in the nation also. So we are really always appreciative of the role that the media plays in all the legal services activity programs that we carry forward. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you, and also to extend our appreciation to all of you before I enter into the topic. Today's topic that is assigned is on understanding the child rights and the child protection, and what the media should be doing. The first slide that I want to show is on the introduction. This is by Jim Morrison, and I'm sure most of you are aware of this. Whoever controls the media controls the mind. So this is something where we can take it up as a challenge. It is maybe a warning, and it is a truth itself. So who are the media? Who are controlling the media? And who are controlling the mind? So the media, are you all? Are you all the one?
This Jim Morrison is your doors.
Jim Morrison's quotation.
That's right.
Yeah, the quotation I have picked up from, I don't know the background about this person, but you can just Google and see the background of this person. I just picked up this quote because I really felt that today's topic and this particular quotation is in cohesion with each other. So when we talk about media, and whoever controls the media, and the media are the ones who are controlling the mind. So when we say media, it is you all, and it is from you, it reflects what the society is and how and what people think about. You all reflect the society, and it is you all only who shape the society. The perception and even the behavior also, not only the perception and thoughts, but behavior is being shaped by the media. That's what I feel. And I find that this quotation is something which is very catchy, and at the same time it is reflecting the media people. Okay. Now when you frame issue, how do you frame the issue? A particular story comes about, maybe of corruption or some crime happening. Let's take the example of a child. The child is an accused, or the child may be a victim. So how do you frame the issue? The issue may be framed in a positive way, or in a negative way, or it may be neutral, or it may be emotional. So then so much depends on the media. We talk about a democratic system where different stakeholders are there to protect the child, and media plays a very important role in protecting the identity of a child, be it an accused or be it a victim. Earlier we have also heard by the former speakers that a child means below and up to 18 years of age. So are you there doing on the negative side, taking the sensational news, or are you there to protect the rights of a child? That is one question I want us to ponder. We have all the digital and social media. Now today's algorithms on platforms like YouTube, like Twitter, like Facebook and TikToks, okay, are this giving the information in the right way? Are they the ones, the people behind this system, are the ones controlling the system? When we see a news in the paper, or maybe on the digital mode, and when we read that particular news, we just think that, okay, this news given by the media, it is government friendly, it is towards the government, or it is controlled by the business corporations, it is controlled by some people, by some entity. That's what we can make out. But whether the media is playing its corrective role of giving the proper information or disseminating the correct information to the public. Now, coming to the child rights and child protection, who are the most vulnerable section of the society, the media plays a very important role, and the influence which you all give is going to impact the whole society. When we look into the privacy rights and emotions of a child, now whether the focus of media is towards the actual child rights or exploitation. Is your interest only towards focusing more on the sensational news, the local perceptions of headlines, which are Alice has already mentioned when she was speaking on the welcome address? Are we looking on those things when it comes to a child? Be it the child who may be an accused, or be it a child who may be a victim, a juvenile. Okay, in the real sense, in the legal terms, we call it juvenile. I want to deal with the international law and guidelines. Now, when we come to these international laws and guidelines, India is a signatory to the UN Convention on Rights of Child and also of UNICEF. So UNICEF is guided by this UNCRC. Okay, so Because of this, since we are a signatory to this, we follow whatever guidelines are being laid by that, and that is how the different laws have come into our country. Now, when we deal with the, not go into detail, but some of the most important things when it comes to this are the non-discrimination. It looks into the best interest of a child, which our law also have been able to implement. Right to life, survival and development, right to be heard and participate. So these are some of the few tips. Then when it comes to the UNICEF, under UNICEF also all the various programs we carry out. So like to respect the dignity of the rights of a child, pay special attention to child's privacy or confidentiality while interviewing or reporting on child, then protect the best interest of child, more or less the same thing which the UNICEF is following. Then give due weightage to the views of child as per age and maturity. Consult those who are closest to child's situation and best to assess it about political, cultural, social ramifications of any reportage, and not to publish anything putting the child, his siblings or peer at risk. So the international law and the guidelines are showing that. Now when we come to our domestic laws, earlier also some of this have been mentioned. We have the Juvenile Justice, Care and Protection of Children Act of 2015, and the relevant portion for the media is section 74. Then the Press Council of India Act 1978. Then we have the Indian Penal Code 228A, but now we have the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhiti, BNS we call it, that is under section 72. Then the Cable Television Network Regulation Act. Then comes the POCSO, Protection of Children from Sexual Offence Act. And earlier, our earlier speakers have also mentioned about the IT Act and also on Child Labour Act. So these are some of the domestic laws that we have. Firstly, the Juvenile Justice Act, which is very important for all of you here. I would like to just, if I don't show it physically, then I may be misquoted, or maybe I will be quoted. I'm just joking. But then I'm also having a time where I'm wondering whether I will be quoted correctly or I will be misquoted, or maybe some live checks may be going on. So if we look into this section 74, the prohibition on disclosure of identity of a child. Okay, so this becomes very important for all the media personnel, and no report of any newspaper, in any newspaper, magazine, news sheet or audio-visual media or other forms of communication regarding any inquiry or investigation or judicial procedure shall disclose the name, address or school or any other particular which may lead to the identification of a child in conflict with law, or a child in need of care and protection, or a child victim or witness of a crime involved in such matter under any other law for the time being in force, nor shall the picture of any child be published, provided that for reasons to be recorded in writing, the board or the committee, as the case may be, hold the inquiry, may permit such disclosure if in its opinion such disclosure is in the best interest of the child. Then the subsection 2 says the police shall not disclose any record of the child for the purpose of character certificate or otherwise in cases where the case has been closed or disposed of. And number 3, any person contravening with the provision of subsection 1 shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 6 months or fine which may extend to 2 lakhs or both. So this is one provision which is very important, and I'm sure all of you are aware of this provision, but I would like to also reiterate on this provision that it is very important to protect the identity of a child. The child has its own rights, so one should protect that. The most important thing is child in conflict with law. That means the child is a juvenile, the child is an accused. The child in need of care and protection. That means the child may have been abandoned, or the child may be in adoption, the child may be in the shelter home. So child means we all know below 18 years or up to 18 years. So then, or a victim of a victim, a child victim. Maybe in a rape case or in some sexual assault or some cases an offense has happened to the child. Or when we say witness of a crime, now a child has been victimized, or it may be like a case which has happened to an adult and a child is a witness in the crime. So the child also should not be revealed. The child said this, or the name, the school, the identity, the family members, all these things are restricted under this act. So this provision is very important for you all to always have in mind while going out for your media reports or while you do your journalism. These are some of the things which you have to keep in mind, that the child is protected either if the child is an accused, or even if the child is a victim, or even in that case a witness in a particular crime. Otherwise, the punishment is there, 6 months or fine up to 2 lakhs or both. We can discuss further that one later.
KPC website on our Foundation Day, and our Foundation Day falls on the 20th of January, so next year on the 20th of January we will be observing our 25th anniversary. And as part of this celebration, we have also held a workshop on biodiversity and wildlife conservation in June. So this is the third event we are holding today. And here it says in our program, 10-minute tea break.
The Indian Penal Code, section 72 is also there, where section 72 also has clearly defined about the child. So here the child cannot be victimized or like stigmatized also when it comes to the child dealing with the sexual offense under this act. So section 228, you all need not know the provision, but then what is there in the provision is most important for you all to keep in mind. Now the next is the Cable Television Network Regulation Act. Here the important thing is the child's welfare. So when it comes to the child's welfare, so publishing or showing all this also entails punishment, which is a more greater punishment, which is up to 2 years or like up to 5 years if the offense is repeated. Okay, so in any way, in any programs or any advertisement, the child should not be denigrated. Now, coming to the Protection of Child from Sexual Offence Act, this is a very serious offence, and many cases are rising in our state, and it is a very, very serious thing that we are very much affected while working in the court. There are so many cases which are like, some cases are really unbelievable. Some cases which we hear happening in mainland or in other parts of the state, but here in our own state it is happening. So this is something which I would like to impress upon the media also, that we need to take these cases very seriously, so that the cases where the children are being affected, it does not, the materials, the evidences are not destroyed because of the media being too active or being too sensational and giving news which related to POCSO cases. So one has to be like, yes, it is very important to give the correct news, but at the same time, it is also very important to be very cautious while dealing with all these sensitive issues. I'm sure all of you are aware about the Press Council of India guidelines and all. So if you want me to touch a bit on that, I can just touch and go with this regard. So involvement of children in news, programs, documentaries must be justified. It is saying even in the guidelines. Then the child's anonymity for life. This is also very important when the child is a victim in rape or other sexual offences or trafficking, drug substances abuse, organized crimes, and children in conflict, in the armed conflicts, or a child, earlier I said, in conflict with law, or a child in conflict with law and the child witnesses. These are all very important to have anonymity when it comes to all these cases. Then also the right to privacy, right? And the child should not be affected in any way because the child may undergo anxiety or trauma or stigmatized. So these are some of the things that even in the guidelines are being given. Then the identity of the child, like personal information, the photograph, the school, the locality, all these things should not be revealed in any manner. Then any visual showing the face of a child. So we see often when you do your reporting, the face are being morphed and then blurred. So those are like very good practices and very important. And the media shall not sensitize the issues or stories relating to children. And then while interviewing the child, earlier we have heard the former speaker also about like consent, which is being given by the child. But then when we talk about consent, it is irrelevant when it comes to a child. Okay. So the child may give consent, but it is illegal, it is irrelevant. And many Supreme Court cases also are there where these are being heavily being told also in the judgments that this should not be there and it is considered illegal. Then another thing will be to protect the child from unsuitable content with the right to freedom of expression and right to know. Then the media should promote child rights to information and freedom of expression. Now there are a few case laws which I have just shown. This is one case law which I thought will be important for all of us to engage our mind in. So this, all of you must have heard about this Yhoshü and Hemraj double murder case, right? Now, ultimately, nothing could be proved in such a case. Now the girl is 13 years old, and Hemraj, who is the house helper, who lives in the house, he is 45 years old. Then this incident happened sometime in 2008, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So this is a very serious case where the media also started its trial, and the court, before it could actually start the trial, all the evidences which were available, it has been totally destroyed. Destroyed in the sense that it became so sensational that the media also came to the scene of the crime. The different stakeholders also, they have come to the scene, and all the different people, family, relatives, they have all come to the scene, and most of the evidences were being hampered. Okay, so it is a very sad case where the girl was found murdered, the throat slit, and was found on her bed in her bedroom. And the police, they came to the house on being informed, and then they came, they saw everything, and the thing which the police could not take care was to go and check the terrace where this particular person, Hemraj, was killed and kept. So they came and identified everything about the girl, and then they left. And only the following day, after checking, the father also gave money to the police to go and check this particular person. Initially they say that he was the accused, saying that he has run away from the house and he is the main suspect, and so he must have fled to his own place, and therefore the police were being tipped off, and then they went in search of this accused, Hemraj. But later he was found on the terrace and locked in the terrace. So later on, the parents were also made accused in this particular case, but they were acquitted. Then there were some people who were also involved, they were also arrested, they were also made accused in this particular case, but they were acquitted. So now what happened was, coming to the point, now in the media, every detail about the child was being published. Okay, her identity was being published, even her personal diary, the SMSs that have been exchanged, the emails that have been exchanged, all these things were being put in the public. And therefore, the identity of the child could not be covered. One is not supposed to disclose the identity of the child, but in this particular case, everything was being revealed. And so it has become a very unfortunate case where no lead, nothing could come about in this particular case, and the closed case was just an open and shut case. So leaking private information, it violates the Juvenile Justice Act, it also violates the POCSO Act. Okay. Now the character assassination part on the child, the parents, then the victim turned to accuse. Arushi also, and at the same time Hemraj also, both of them. But Arushi being the minor, 13-year-old, the victim became the accused in this particular case because everything was being revealed about Arushi. Now the public perception and the justice based solely on media coverage. So everyone waiting for the information every day about what is going on in this Arushi and Hemraj double murder case. And then the media is giving all the information every day. So the looking towards the sensational side and then ignoring the child rights, the protection of the child is also a very unfortunate thing, and which also should not have happened, which is also not allowed. But this case, and likewise in many other cases also, these things are happening. So let us keep in mind about not violating the ethical rights, the legal norms, keeping those things in mind. You may kindly deal with your cases when you frame your issues. In court also we frame issues, like when it comes to civil cases, then the particular facts of the case are placed before us, and then from there we take out the issues and we frame them, and accordingly we come to the conclusion. When it comes to the criminal aspect, we determine the points for determinations are there, and then we frame it, and then accordingly we deal with the cases. Likewise, earlier I've already mentioned, when you frame your issues, it should be, it should have proper framing of issues. You should keep the right of the child and protection of the child in front of you, so that the child is not affected in any manner. Now some of the cases, these are some of the cases where Dinesh at Buddha and State of Rajasthan, then Aju Varghese versus State of Kerala, these are all very important cases where in the first case the Supreme Court has observed Dinesh at the rate of Buddha, the name of the victim should not be indicated. So this is a very strong observation made by the Supreme Court, and we have chosen to describe her as victim in the judgment. So the name is not revealed here. Even us also, when we write our judgments or pass any orders, we don't reveal the identity of the victim or even the child witnesses. We put XXX or we use the word victim only. So that is because of the direction of the Honorable Supreme Court. Then coming to that Nipun Saxena's case, this is a very important case and a celebrated case. So even in a remote manner also, you should not disclose any facts which can lead to the victim being identified and which should make her identity known to the public at large. Okay, so in no way, no person can print or publish in print, electronic, social media, the name of the victim. Not only publishing or passing on information, but not even in a remote way also. Remote way would mean that supposing here is the victim A, and then you are saying, not saying the name of the victim, but you are saying that this particular victim went with these friends, or this particular victim belongs to this community, to this tribe. or this particular victim is in this school. So then you are revealing the identity of the child, isn't it? So these are the things which should be avoided. It is very important to always keep at the back of your mind not to reveal the identity of the victim even in a remotest way also. Okay. Now where the victim is dead or of unsound mind, the name of the victim or her identity should not be disclosed even under the authorization of the next of the kin, unless circumstances justifying the disclosure of her identity exist, which shall be decided by the competent authority, which at present is the sessions judge. Okay. So here, to explain it further, like supposing a child is being found dead, or the child is having unsoundness of mind, and then it is not possible to find the identity of that particular child. So sometimes we see on social media also that a child, the face, everything is shown because the child perhaps had run away from home, or no one could find about the child because the child is mute and unable to express, or the child is unable to communicate about her home or his home or in any way. So then the photos are being flashed. So that is, yes, the right way to do it. Then only we are able to identify that this child belongs to this family, and therefore the child has been sent back to the family, or the child is in the shelter home, or things like that happens. But if the identity of the child is known, then those photos should not be circulated. But if it is not known, then it is legal to do that. So here, the disclosure also, it needs to be taken permission for the disclosure of the identity. So unless circumstances justifying the disclosure of our identity exist, we shall be decided by the competent authority. But here we are also, law is now coming very heavily on each and every one of us, be it any person in the government sector, or be it in the different sectors, the media or the judiciary, or any person for that matter, citizen of India. All of us are required to know the law, because we are all aware that ignorance of law is not an excuse. Okay, we cannot say that it was a bona fide mistake, because mistake has already been committed and the child's identity has been disclosed. The child is the victim of crime, and the child's protection is being affected. The child's rights, the right to information, everything gets affected because of that. Sakshi's case, though, it is like just for certain procedural safeguards is there. The best practices that for journalists or the media people, I just collected a few of them. We can also add up to that. So always blur faces, use pseudonyms and avoid identifiers, obtain written consent if necessary, and ensure it's in the child's best interest. Earlier, we also heard that the consent of the child should be taken, but it means that you have to obtain written consent if necessary and assure it's in the child's best interest. Maybe from the guardians or from the relatives, from the parents, you can take the consent of the child, but then you should also keep in mind that it is not affecting the child's protection, the child's right. Use child-friendly language and dignity-focused framing in stories. So when you frame your stories, it is very important that you all are disseminating information, you all are disseminating the correct stories, the correct picture to the public at large. So it is very important to keep in mind that you are using the child-friendly language, and you are also focusing on the right issue while framing your stories. Focus on dignity and solutions, not sensationalism, and then ethical reporting becomes very, very important. Now, collaborate with legal and child rights experts when covering sensitive cases. Yes, sometimes the media is not expected to know each and every detail or the legal aspect also. So while doing so, when it becomes a very sensitive case, then it is very important to collaborate with the legal experts to collaborate with the child rights experts. We have the commission here, we have the legal services authority, we have different bodies who can help out. So in this line, it is important to take assistance and collaborate. Now the coverage on child-centered news. So are you focusing only on the consumer choice or also on the interest of the child? So the best interest of the child is very important for you all to keep at the back of your mind when you are dealing with a case, victim, a child who has been sexually abused, or a child who has faced sexual assault or aggravated sexual assault or rape, all these things. So it's very important that you must always keep the best interest of child. Then you have to provide child-oriented news contents, just a kind of practice for you all. Then develop interest. Now for the children, are we also taking care of the children's education or the right to information for a child? This is one thing I also want to impress. Like when in the newspapers, whether a child is taking interest in reading the newspaper. So in order to generate that, it is also important to give some very interesting news of children, which will be able to give a right sense for the child to read newspapers, to engage children and youth, because they are the future population of ours. So this, I also want to impress upon you all, to provide news which will gauge the interest of children. Because the children also, the guidelines which I have also mentioned earlier of the Press Council of India, one of the guidelines is right to information of child, to get proper information suitable to them. So this is also one of the areas which the media also, if it is covered, it will be of great help. Already mentioned, so we are coming to the end. We just want to wrap up some of the legal rules every journalist must follow when covering children. So we have already seen not to publish child's name or photo in sexual offense cases. Like I said, the penalty is up to 6 months imprisonment and fine. Then not to reveal the identity of the child in conflict with law. So in the JJ Act, the penalty is up to 6 months imprisonment and fine. Not to share or circulate child sexual abuse contents, even if it is for awareness. Earlier, the earlier speaker has mentioned about Section 66E, Privacy of Child, and 67B, IT Act. That is the penalty. It's up to 7 years with fine. Then to obtain written consent from guardians when interviewing or filming children. So to ensure the child is not portrayed in a demeaning, exploitative, or dangerous ways. So we'll collect the suggestions later. And so we come to the conclusion. So now do you believe whoever controls the media controls the mind? All stakeholders on social media, I think the media fraternity also is under a lot of scanner and also have a lot to pick up and a lot to do when it comes to these children. So I know I can understand how it is when you publish your news or when you go looking for your reportings and all. It becomes a very big burden also for all of you. So you may be having facing also at the same time and also having certain queries to ask also, or may have faced situations. So if you can share the situations which you all have faced, I think we can also take up that as a module for today and we can discuss upon those things.
So, Madam, in the case of this Yhoshü and Raj, just a curiosity.
Yes, yes.
I just want to know, how did the victim turn to accused?
So see, when the victim was found, the next list and all those, now the entire life about the victim was being portrayed in the social media. So there are certain things where, like, she has sent an email to the father, she has sent emails to various sources, to different boys. So she was in touch with different people. She was just 13, but then most of the time she's alone at home because both the parents are doctors and they are very, very busy people. So then she has so much time in hand. So now when she has done those things and when her SMSs went to the entire media, when her personal diary, everything got shown in the media, now people started saying that she is not a victim but she's an accused because she's the one who has been sending such emails, maybe some emails given to the father, threatening the father, or to the boys with whom she was in touch, the SMSs that were sent. So some maybe objectionable languages were there in her SMSs, in her emails and all those. So then the public also, the media also, they started saying that she's not a victim but she herself is an accused. Because she is herself, though she is young, she's a minor, but still she is doing all these things which adults do. She's doing all these things which are like she's not supposed to do. So then her case got affected, and it can be viewed like she herself is an accused in this particular case. So then the media becomes a very important tool, very powerful, that even a child who is a victim in the case can be shown, or not made a victim, not made an accused, but can be shown as an accused.
Then what is the opinion of the law?
So then, it's in such a situation, like, see, the disclosure of a child, be it a victim or a juvenile, it is not permissible. Yeah. So it is not permissible, even if the child is a juvenile, has committed some offense, still the child should not be disclosed at all because they are very vulnerable. In fact, they are the most vulnerable section of the society. So then their identity should be protected. So the unfortunate thing in this particular case is her identity, not only her identity, but then everything about her was full blown.
I think the right word will be vilified.
Vilification, yeah.
Instead of being named and accused.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, I would like to thank the Nagaland State Commission for Protection of Child Rights and the Kohima Press Club for this opportunity that is given to me to have this workshop and speak on this topic of understanding child rights and child protection and the role of media. In fact, I must admit, it is unnerving to be standing in a room full of media persons and going to speak on this topic, because it is something where, like, when facing the media, it gives a very different feeling. But I feel that this unique challenge is a wonderful opportunity for me, and I hope all of us today will be able to learn from each other, and at the same time will be able to have a good time of interaction. That is what I'm looking forward. And with these few words, please allow me to sit down because I have lots of materials and I see that this podium is quite small for me to juggle with the materials. So thank you very much. I'll just have a seat.